Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. Today is 7th January 2020 and dear friends, from today I will be looking after the Hindu analysis lecture in English. Many of you would be aware about me. For a very long period of time I have delivered the Hindu analysis both in Hindi and English on StudyIQ platform. Our dear faculty Amit Saini has been selected as an enforcement officer with EPFO. So from today, I am here with you guys. I will bring the Hindu newspaper analysis from Monday to Saturday as early as possible. Today we have many important articles on our table. The first one that we are going to analyze is this one. The US is weakened by Soleimani's killing. It's about Iran versus USA sort of situation that we find in the West Asian part of the world. We'll go through some historical things like why things are, what they are at present. And then you have one more editorial comment, exit Iraq. So basically these two items are associated with USA and Iran. Then you have another article. It's about ad hoc teacher. From here we can learn like why we need to get rid of this ad hoc teacher recruitment thing, why we need to get rid of this temporary teachers, or why we need to make them permanent. Then we have a case for including Tulu. Tulu is a language in the 8th schedule of our constitution. You have this article, Challenges to Hindutva's New Avatar. It's a pure political article. If you have spare time, you can go through it as far as your examination is concerned. You don't have to go through this article. Then you have these two articles. One is editorial comment, The Mask of Anarchy, and then you have students in vanguard of democratic struggle. So this both items are associated with Jawaharlal Nehru University, and we are going to analyze. And of course, you find few points over here in this articles. Both there are this points are basically against a particular party, but we are not going into the political debate, right? When I say political, I'm talking about this tutu meme thing. We are not going into that. We are going to focus on more important things like in a democracy, what is or what should be a concept of a student. What do we understand by a student? What do we understand by university, right? How things should be. What are the steps taken by government and things like that. Before we move ahead, dear friends, our platform, that is StudyIQ.com, provides and offers various different pen drive and tablet courses for various different competitive exams. So we have covered UPSC, state PSCs, banking exams, SSC, and much more. All information is available on StudyIQ.com. To find out more about it, visit our website, and if you have in case any question, queries or doubts, you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Dear friends, you can download the PDF of today's lecture from these two sources. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students, and if you like this video, if you think that you have learned something from this video, then please don't forget to hit the like button and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So first of all, we'll start our discussion with the US is weakened by Soleimani's killing. Now, before we crack on, I would like to show you, or let's clearly understand that Iran and Iraq, they are two countries, right? And the reason I'm saying this thing is because I still remember in one of his speech, former president of USA, George Bush, right? He said that we are going to attack Iran. He was talking about Saddam Hussein, he was talking about Iraq, but he said Iran, and that was a big thing. And many times I have observed that many students, they are not students, but generally as well, people are a bit confused about Iran and Iraq. So here you have a big country. When you compare it with Iraq, it's a big country. This is Iran here, the capital is Tehran, and Iran is a country that shares its border with Afghanistan and Pakistan. You have a reasonably small country when you compare it with Iran. It's Iraq. It's Saddam Hussein's country, right? It's a big face, famous face. So he's not. He was a leader, but at present he is not, of course. But to remember, you can to remember Iraq, right? Quite clearly. Then this is a name, Saddam Hussein. Baghdad is the capital. So these are the two countries here. Now, the actions that have taken place is here, this Kirkuk, and you have this Baghdad here. But the main problem is not between Iraq and USA, it is between Iran and USA. I'm sure it's a bit confusing here, but don't worry, I am going to explain all the things. So how it all started. A rocket was fired, right, into the military base in Kirkuk. Kirkuk military base of USA. It was attacked by a rocket and a military contractor got killed. Now, to take the revenge of this military contractor's death, the USA launched an airstrike on this pro-Iranian militia. This pro-Iranian militia, they were not happy with this airstrike, so they attacked the embassy of USA in Baghdad. Now, see the connection here. The things were going on it all started with Kirkuk, but finally it reached here in the capital city of Iraq, that is Baghdad. And you can see here this photo of the embassy of USA in Baghdad. It was attacked, and you can see flags of various different organizations as well as Iraq and things. So this attack on USA's embassy was an indication that USA's position is weakening in Iraq, and to display its power, or you can say to take the revenge of this embassy attack, on 3rd January, USA basically assassinated Qasem Soleimani. Now, who is Qasem Soleimani? I'll show you his picture. This person here, he is Qasem Soleimani, and the reason why he is important is because he was the commander of the powerful Quds force of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. To understand it a bit more clearly, I would use a local example. You know how Ajit Doval, who is National Security Advisor of our country, he's a very famous gentleman, isn't it? The popularity that Ajit Doval has in this region or in our country, I would say this Qasem Soleimani was a bit more famous than Ajit Doval is in India. So you can imagine, not just in Iran, but in the whole region, he was quite famous, particularly in all those countries who are under the umbrella of Iran. Iran is a strong leader of this West Asia. Its arch rival is Saudi Arabia. And we'll talk about it in future, right? Don't worry, I am going to take you through, because many times we are going to find occasions where this region will be in news. So let me give you a small example. You have this triangle here. On one side you have Iran, and Iran has two enemies in this region. One is Israel and the other is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, right? Now, Israel and Saudi Arabia are not good friends, but when it comes to Iran, they shake hands with each other, and they have one thing in common, and that is they both are allies of USA. They both are friends of USA, and USA is an arch enemy of Iran. Now, coming back to this Qasem Soleimani, so he is quite famous in this part of the world. And why he was in Baghdad? He's basically from Iran, but what he was doing in Baghdad? He was there on the invitation of Iraqi Prime Minister, right, Adil Abdul Mahdi. He invited Qasem Soleimani to have a chat to have a conversation about the relationship between USA and Iran, because things were not going very well between both these countries. And it was Mr. Trump who insisted, or who asked Iraqi Prime Minister to play a role of a mediator between these two countries of Iran and USA. So on 3rd of January, when this person, Qasem Soleimani, visits or enters this airport, he came from Damascus. So he was in Syria. After Syria, he was here in this country, Iraq. And as soon as he left this airport, international airport of Baghdad, a drone of USA assassinated this person here. Now, relationship between, if we go back in the history of these two countries, Iran and USA, then we find that on your screen you can see a picture. It's about Iranian Revolution. Iranian Revolution that took place in 1979. And basically before 1979, USA was a very good friend of Iran. In fact, all the Iranian Shahs or the kings, were the puppets of USA, and people were not happy about this thing. So finally, people came out in a street under this, leadership of this person that you can see on your screen, Khomeini. He was the supreme leader of this new country, or you can say new system of Iran. So Iranian revolution took place, and in fact, at that point of time in Tehran, the embassy of USA was attacked, and since then, a relationship between, means they are, eye to eye with each other. They are arch enemies, Iran and USA. So from last 40 years, things are bad. There was a ray of hope back in 2015 under the leadership of Barack Obama. If you remember, Iranian nuclear deal, or Iran nuclear deal, was signed, or it is also known officially as JCPOA. I have a question for you. Can you give me the full form of JCPOA? Right, what is the full form of JCPOA? Write your answer in the comment section. So I'm going to throw some light about JCPOA. It's basically, it was approved by United Nations, and it is also known as 5+1 and Iran. So here you have P5 countries. P5 are like permanent 5 of United Nations Security Council, plus you have Germany, and together these 6 countries had a chat with Iran regarding their nuclear program, and finally it was decided that Iran will not go ahead with nuclear weapons, and gradually it will get rid of this nuclear items that Iran is having. So everything was looking good, but then came Mr. Trump, and Mr. Trump started a new strategy with Iran because of various political reasons. Right, we don't have that much time to go through the entire relationship, but I'm going to give you big main points, and I'm sure it's going to be easy for you to understand as well. So Mr. Trump came out with this maximum pressure campaign. He said that crush Iran, create that much pressure that it will crush them. And Iran was, going ahead with this strategic patience. For a very long period of time, Iran was under sanctions, and then as well it was moving ahead with technological and other development. But finally, Iran was like, because after this JCPOA, Iran decided like, let's get rid of this thing and let's make USA our friend. Let's try at least. So things were moving in that direction, but the strategic patience approach was withdrawn by Iran because of this maximum pressure of Mr. Trump. And these two people that you can see on your screen, right? This man's name is Al-Muhandis. He was also assassinated. He was in the same car with this Soleimani. Now, Al-Muhandis, he was a leader of this Popular Mobilization Force, and it's a very strong political group basically supported by Iran. So these two people, right? They are quite famous. They are famous for fighting against ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And it is also said that because of these two people, right, this ISIS was not able to expand in the whole of Middle East. So they played a very important role. They are like local heroes of this, or the regional heroes, and both of them are being assassinated. So things are not going to be that easy for USA as well. Trump administration has made a strategic mistake, has been written in this particular article. It is said that a senior Iranian official, that is Soleimani, again, diplomatic passport holder, that is also Soleimani, and this person here, Iraqi political leader, were assassinated by USA. And now this country, Iran, has also said that they are not going to sit down quiet. They are going to take a very strong revenge, and Hassan Rouhani has assured the family of Soleimani that USA would feel the impact of its criminal act for years ahead. The Prime Minister of Iraq has said that this is clearly an act of aggression against Iraq. You have killed a guest of Iraq. You have killed a person who was here on a very important visit, and this thing could light the fuse of war as well. On 5th January, Iraqi parliament decided that they are going to expel all the US troops, and from now on, this US troops will not get any access to airspace, land or water of Iraq. And this is also considered, if you analyze this whole topic, then we can also see that this is not just an attack on Iran alone. It is basically an attack on all pro-Iranian groups across the region, and they are not going to sit quiet. There is a particular term used for this group, and that is called resistance axis. Resistance axis. Resistance axis basically means all those countries that are under this umbrella of Iran. So I'll quickly highlight a few countries here. So you have, of course, Iran is here. Then supporters are Iraq. You have Lebanon. Then you have Syria here. You have Yemen. So these are the few countries who are in this region. They are supporting this country, or they are part of this Iran team. So it is not an attack on Iran alone. It is an attack on all different regions and all different countries of this region. And when I say all, I'm talking about all those, of course, umbrella countries or these countries that are part of this Iranian team. So soldiers of USA and personals of USA, they would come under threat because of because of this attack, and now they are going to face some sort of, say, vengeance from pro-Iranian groups. Soleimani's assassination has awakened the deep strain of Iranian patriotism. Back in 2019, there were protests in Iran, but these protests were associated with petrol prices, inflation and things. But now you can see a wave of patriotism has been awakened because of this thing, and now the youngsters and all, basically most of the people of Iran, now they are supporting the government. And as you can see here, the government and top people standing in front of the coffin of this leader who has been assassinated. And this is a very famous mosque. It's called Jamkaran Mosque. Let me write it down here. Jamkaran or Jamkaran. It's a mosque basically. And where do you find this mosque? It's in Qom city, Qom, Qom city it's a religious holy city of Iran. And here you can see a green flag, but basically current flag over here is red flag, and that indicates that the country is ready for a war. Normally France, Germany and UK are countries that they have generally supported USA many times in the past, even if USA is wrong. But here they are not supporting USA, and USA is not happy about it. Iran has written to Antonio Guterres, and Antonio Guterres has issued a statement. China and Russia will bring a resolution at the United Nations. Of course, it will be vetoed out by USA, but they are going to bring, because they are also a sort of, you can say, a cold sort of enemies of USA. So the things that are going on in this part of the world are not healthy at all for our country, India, because first of all, oil prices will shoot up, and this is going to kick inflation. At present, we are struggling with slowdown, and at the same time, if we have inflation, then that's not a good thing at all for our economy. It's not just about import. Our rupee is also falling down because of this thing. And one of the reason, right, rupee, then it will make oil a bit more expensive. It will make other imports more expensive. And then, rice, as far as rice export, basmati rice export is concerned, Iran is a very important destination for our country. When it comes to tea, Iran is again a very important destination for our country. And there are other products as well, pharmaceuticals and other things. So we want to be able to supply all those things. And there are warnings at present that we should not send our ships to this country, because chances are that a war can start anytime, and then people, as well as our, there will be lots of losses of our country. So we should stay away from this region. So import of oil as well as export of various different products will get affected, and this will be not a good thing for our economy. At the end of the discussion, I would say that US policy against Iran and Iraq appears a bit desperate and irrational. Moving on to next item, it's not that difficult to understand. It's about ad hoc teachers. There are estimated 4,500 ad hoc teachers in Delhi University. Now, ad hoc basically means temporary teachers. We all know how our higher education system is ranking when it comes to global rankings, right? We know our performance. We know many things that are going on in various different parts of our country when it comes to higher education. There are many colleges, in small buildings, and there are many things, fake degrees, and just visit your college to give your exam and you can get a degree. So this sort of things I'm sure you might have heard and might have witnessed as well. Now, here our main discussion will be about teachers and the role that they play in any society and why they are important and why we need to get rid of this ad hoc recruitment or ad hoc jobs, particularly for teachers. Now, lack of job security is one of the most, it's a very, you can say, creativity killing thing. When you are not sure about your job, when you don't know that next morning whether you'll be working for a company that you are working for, and you never know, your boss will send you a WhatsApp message and tell you like, now we don't need you anymore. So if you are in this sort of hostile environment, right, you'll be always in a sort of fight and flight mode. So without job security plays a very important role. It will calm you down. It will allow you to think creatively, and particularly in this sort of jobs where your words, where your actions create a sort of positive as well as negative impact on you can say very impressionable demographic of a country. So it's very important that we select proper teachers as well as they should be looked after as well. Development experts say that a healthy and civilized society depends in part on the quality of higher education, and this is right as well. We know this thing, right, that if your survival is in question, if you are not sure about your bread and butter, then you cannot be creative, isn't it? But we never discuss this thing, or we never give a sort of second thought to this thing that a fulfilled teacher, a teacher who is looked after very well, good job, right, good pay, good sort of holidays and everything, good package basically. A teacher who he or she, if he or she is having this sort of package, then they would be, of course, satisfied, and they would be creating, and they will be creating. I'm not saying 100%, but now all the things that are possibly required you have provided, so they can create a healthy, because they are peaceful from their mind. Running after bread and water is not something that they have to do every day. They know what they are doing now, or they have a secure job. But a frustrated teacher, a healthy society can be created with the help of a fulfilled teacher. In the same way, a frustrated teacher can destroy the society as well, and this is something that we need to pay our attention to. Colin Wilcox, you can see the picture of the lady on your screen, and she has said that what hope will teachers instill in a students when a Damocles sword constantly hangs over their heads. She has also said that teaching is the greatest act of optimism. So what is going on in our country, and we find it's not everywhere, but it is going there, right? There are institutions where they will pay you a teacher, on paper they will pay 30,000 or maybe 50,000, but next day what you have to do is you have to visit your ATM, and you have to take out, like, if they are paying you 30,000, you have to take out like 15,000 or 20,000 cash, and then you have to give it back to the management. So actually your salary is 10,000, and what they are doing, they are exploiting teachers, as well as they are not paying their taxes properly. They are showing this teacher's salary as their expenses, and they are ducking taxes, and they are creating black money. And so there are this sort of institutions as well. Now, because of this sort of exploitation, and if without this exploitation as well, if like teachers are not getting enough you can say salary from their job, then they will go ahead with tuition classes. They will open some private tuition classes. They will give the best quality things in tuition classes, and finally what happens is a parent has to pay extra for tuition classes, as well as for tuition classes, and they are already paying for school or higher university, right, or college. They are already paying those fees, but now they are paying extra money for tuition classes as well. So this is something that is not good for parents, and a thing that is been created by institutions, this education institutions, their ill wills are affecting other people as well. Now, importance of human capital. If you ask me, then I would say Japan is this much ahead, not because of technology. It is because of the people of Japan, human capital. Japan, there was a time when Japan started investing heavily in people of Japan, right? Human capital, human resource, and all the good things that we hear about Japan is because of this investment in human capital. Higher education is also a core ingredient of development. If we just have money, or if we just have like economical growth, but if we don't have like proper human beings, if we don't have proper education for our citizens, then that's not going to last. This growth is not going to last, and we cannot claim or say that we are a rich country. There are so many countries, like talk about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has huge amount of money that they have earned from oil, but you cannot call Saudi Arabia a developed country, because higher education or overall education level of the people of Saudi Arabia, right, is not up to the mark. Moving on to next item, it's about a case for including Tulu in English, beg your pardon, in 8th schedule. Now this article is written by a member of parliament. He is coming from one of the region where Tulu language is spoken. So 2001 census says that there are 30 languages that are spoken by more than 1 million people each. 122 languages are spoken by at least 10,000 people each, and 1,599 languages, most of which are dialects. We find it in our country. Now, if we go through Article 29 of the Constitution, which provides that a section of citizens having a distinct language, script or culture have the right to conserve the same. And the reason why we are for language, see, when it comes to language, when it comes to culture, it may be, means as far as monetary value is concerned, it's not producing any sort of money, right? But it's not that a thing that is not producing money is not good or not important. In fact, these are the things that this diversity that we have in language, in art, in food, right? All these things are part of our country. It has always been here. And I'm not talking about few years, I'm talking about thousands. So if you go back to the history of our country, you will find that we have always welcomed idea. One thing that we have always accepted, right, is ideas. India has always accepted ideas, and this is, I believe, one of the reason why we were at the top of the game once upon a time, because at that point of time we used to accept ideas, and then things change, technology change, and things like that. So we have, again, the history, right? Then invaders came in, and then British Empire and things like that. So actually, both the state and the citizens, they are responsible, equally responsible. It's not just the responsibility of those people who are speaking the language. It is also important as a nation, as a government, to make sure that this language, particularly those languages, those cultures that are about to get extinct, should be protected. And if we go through the list of languages in the 8th schedule, and it is important for you to understand this list, is because many times you find questions on this list. So you have Assami, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Uriya, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Bodo, Santhali, Maithili, and Dogri. These are the 22 languages that are part of this 8th schedule. You need to remember them. So if we go through this finding of this particular article, we find that Sanskrit is part of this 8th schedule, but as per 2011 census, only 24,821 speakers are there of this language. There are other languages like say Bhili or Bhilodi. Now we have 1 crore plus a speaker in our country, but we don't have this language in the 8th schedule. Gondi, it has 29 lakh people speaking this language. Then you have Garo, Ho, Khaldesi, Khasi, other languages. More than 10 lakh, 15 lakh people, right? They speak this language, but they are not part of this 8th schedule. Now, in this article, the writer is arguing that Tulu is a textbook example of linguistic discrimination. Tulu is a Dravidian language, and it is basically the speakers are concentrated in 2 coastal districts of Karnataka and in 1 district of Kerala, that is Kasaragod. There was a British writer named Robert Caldwell. He said that one of the most highly developed languages of Dravidian family is this Tulu language, but then as well, Tulu is not an official language in India or any other country. If Tulu becomes or comes or is included in the part 8 or 8th schedule of our constitution, then Sahitya Academy awards will be given for this language. Books will be written. MPs and MLAs can use this language in various different houses in the sense Legislative Assembly or Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. Students or aspirants can write all India competitive exams in this language, etc. Now, one thing that you have to remember is this Sulu Proclamation. It took place in a Chinese city, Changasa, back in 2018. Right, and it was conducted by UNESCO at Changsha, and the proclamation is called Sulu Proclamation. It's about this protection and promotion of linguistic diversity, and it talks about that protecting linguistic diversity helps in social inclusion and partnership. It reduces this gender and social inequality, and it makes a country a bit more beautiful in the sense like you have more diversity and things like that. So India can learn a lot of things from this Sulu Proclamation. Moving on to JNU issue. Now I have I have not discussed all those negative, I would say, political allegations by left parties on right parties and right parties on left parties, right? I will leave it on you guys to go, because it's pure politics. It's not associated with your, it's not important for your examination. What is important for your examination is for you to understand what actually is going on in JNU. So there was a rampage, masked criminals. They entered this Jawaharlal Nehru University on Sunday night, and they have ransacked hostels. They have, severely beaten students, professors, and some of the staff members. And it is also said that the street lights were turned off. Now, we need proper investigation on this thing. In this article, we also find one line which is saying that police personnel were there, but then as well they did not pay any sort of attention, to stop this hooligans. So a big question is it supported by government? Now, if we go through the history, or if we go through, there are many cases. I'm not trying to favor any government here. What I want you guys is to, from now on, observe for next few days what's going on, right? Delhi police, is Delhi police doing what it needs to do? Is it fulfilling its duty? Yes or no? We have to, go through. We have to observe this whole incident, and you will find updates about this incident in upcoming days. So let's follow this whole story to find out what actually is going on. Basically, Delhi police spokesperson has said that an FIR has been launched, and there is a joint Commissioner of Police, Shalini Singh. She's going to head this fact-finding investigation committee, and Amit Shah, the Home Minister, has had a discussion with Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal. Mr. Shah also had a word with the Police Commissioner, and the Human Resource Minister has also said that everyone should maintain calm and peace, and basically government is looking after. So let's wait and watch, and let's see what goes on as far as investigation is concerned. Then we would be able to say that whether this was a government backed, or are people trying to promote Hindutva and this sort of things. But the most important thing that I find in this article is that the concept of a student, and I'm of course going to explain you these things, but I am going to leave this thing on you guys to decide what or who actually is a student. You have two versions here, or there can be many different versions, but here we are going to focus on two. A student can be a self-centered, self-absorbed buyer of education. A person who is just, studying, going to college or university. He or she is not interested in other things. They are they are happy in their own life, and their main motto is to, finish their college course or whatever, and then finally get a good job. And the other version, or what a student should be, or who is a student, can a student be socially sensitive? He or she can be, sensitive regarding what's going on in the society, as well as they would be having democratic, secular, and egalitarian thoughts about our society and India. So I'm going to leave this thing on you guys to decide, like who is a student. It could be mix of both as well, right? It's not necessary a student will be a student can be self-centric or self-centered, as well as he or she would be secular and having strong faith on democracy. So it could be a mix of both. Then we have this a definition of university. University is a place where students are, basically where skills are imparted, or where you train or educate people, or it is a place where you can discuss any sort of topics, taboo topics as well. You can have a open chat about it. You can have a proper critical engagement, debate and discussion, without of course engaging into violence. So again, I will leave it on you guys to decide. And the thing is, see, the students or youngsters, they have the most energy. So of course, when things are associated, so you are going to see energy whenever you find students in any sort of protest or any sort of marches. And here you can see so many students are basically not happy with BJP, and JNU students they basically want this VC, Vice Chancellor, to be removed. They believe that the Vice Chancellor is affiliated with this ruling party in the sense the center, of course, BJP, quite clearly. That's what the students are thinking. Now, SC bets for children left out of Assam NRC. So all those parents or guardians or caregivers, if they are part of final list, and if their children are not part of the final list, then children should not be excluded, or they should not be separated from their loved ones. They should be kept with their parents only. On your screen you have Chief Election Commissioner of our country, and Delhi is going on poll on 8th of February. Counting will take place on 11th Feb. And if you are not aware, then let me tell you that as soon as a date of election is announced, on the same right from that moment, model code of conduct kicks in. So Election Commission takes over this region now. New satellites will help Gaganyaan crew, has been said by K. Sivan, who is ISRO chief, and we are going to launch this Indian Data Relay Satellite System, IDRSS. So basically you will have a group of satellites, and it will help us in maintaining our space assets, in communicating with each other and things like that. In 70s and 80s, major or older space majors like USA and Russia, they started this relay satellite system. So they launched all this system. So, and this particular IDRSS will help us a lot with our manned or crew mission of Gaganyaan. And last, you have ICAR is going to set up an innovation fund to help farmers. So if farmers are innovating something, then it will be tested on scientific grounds, and scientifically it will be validated as well if things are quite scientific or something new is been innovated by farmers. And that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Today was our first discussion after maybe it's been an year already. So yes, from tomorrow I'll try to be as early as possible, right? Within a few days we are going to settle down, I'm sure. And I look forward to meet you all guys on regular basis via this platform. God bless you all. Jai Hind.